What's up, Vol fans? Let's wait for everybody to get in here. How's it going? How's it going? Yes, sir. We live. How we doing, everybody? We'll have a real fun show today. Talk about a couple of things. Talk about this big UTSA game. See if we can bounce back, get the offense back on track, get the defense back on track, whole team. So he's going to be joining us at about 8. For those of you who are in here right now, he'll be here at about 8 o'clock Eastern time. Bray, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Excited to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, shoot, I guess we'll go ahead and kind of just get it started. So, First things first, like I said, we're going to talk about UTSA. We're going to talk about their key players, some of the matchups that we're looking out for. We're going to have a couple of other things too. We're going to also talk about the differences from this offense and this defense from this year versus last season. And Bray, so I know that. So you know what? Number one, let me just start off like this. We talked about Golish leaving from this offense, and if that's why the offense is kind of stagnant right now. And Bray, you was watching some of that Bama game. What did you see in that game?
I really just saw kind of the same stuff Tennessee was doing last year. Obviously, it's not as good because they don't really have the athletes, and they're playing for some of the best athletes in the country. Yeah. But they still look pretty good. They were still moving the ball down the field. Now it was raining in that game, which I think that could play some a part to it. So that's pretty much what I saw from that. Yeah.
All right. So what I saw from that game, and also y'all just let us know if y'all can't really hear us, anything like that. But what I noticed, man, is that we're asking where did our offense go? Our offense went down to South Florida. Yeah. That is our offense. Their play calling was good, but it's not so much the play calling as it is the plays that they was actually running. We just the offense right now is stagnant because it's just very basic. Yeah. And we talked about that throughout those first couple of weeks. We said that maybe we're hiding something, but Golish's offense, you see a lot of rubs, you see a lot of rollouts. You see bunch, you see the field kind of getting spread. It just looks way better.
That's something I kind of noticed too. Is I feel like the field can spread a little more.
With Golish, yeah. So I feel like this offense still kind of spreads it out, but I just don't necessarily. It's like our route combinations are just so basic, and it's just not a whole lot of we don't see a whole lot of drag routes, like deep crossers. Yeah. And I saw that out of Golish's offense. Now, obviously, South Florida is not nearly as talented as Tennessee is. Yeah. So for him to even be able to, have a game be close against Bama speaks volumes. Something else in that Bama game, they tried their second and third string quarterback. Mm-hmm. That's something that we've been talking about. He ends up rolling with
Milrow.
Yeah, okay. Milrow. So I don't know. I think that Saban did that just to try to shut up. Yeah, just
I feel like that because that offensive coordinator came from Notre Dame, right? So I feel like he was trying to play his guy. I feel like Saban kind of knew he wasn't the guy. Yeah. So he kind of wanted to prove him. He did not. He definitely was not the guy. So.
Yeah, so him and then what's the other one? Simpson. That's
Simpson.
Okay. Yeah. What is he a freshman?
Yeah, I think he's a freshman or redshirt freshman.
Okay, so he's a younger guy. But so I think that Saban just kind of did that just to prove to the fans, look, y'all wanted to see somebody else, y'all can see both of them, and you see that they're not our best options. Yeah. I don't think Heupel does that, and I don't know if that, again, that's the point of what I'm making now. I don't think that the issue with our offense is Milton. I think that the issue is with, as crazy as this is, Josh Heupel. Yeah. I think that Josh Heupel misses Alex Golish tremendously. But they're friends, so I'm sure he's probably talked to him, and Golish probably gave him a couple of pointers or
I don't know. It just seems like this year, it seems like Tennessee is kind of scared to throw the deep ball a little bit.
Yeah, that's something else too, right? So, and we're not just gonna harp on this negative stuff, but we do want to point out, obviously that there are some key differences to this team versus last season. So I've got it here in my notes because I literally went through. I watched film from last season to this season, and everything on offense and defense is actually better this season. The only thing that isn't is the average passing yards per game, and that's just through the first 3 games. Now, I took the Akron game from last season out, and I put in Florida. But that schedule last year was tougher than what Tennessee has faced this season, and we just, for whatever reason, not throwing the ball down the field very much. So, I mean, Bray, like, what do you think that it's that? Do you think that it's that Heupel just doesn't trust Joe, or do you think it's more of just how his offense is that Joe?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Just I feel like Heupel pretty much the last time you seen Joe, there was a lot of overthrows and stuff like that. So I feel like he kind of has to get his confidence back. But to your point, I mean, I feel like Joe can make the throws. Yeah. I think he's good enough to make throws, and I think they have good enough receivers to go get the ball. So I think they take more deep shots like they did in that last series versus Florida, or second to last. We did that deep out the Brew, and he scored. But they do that a lot more. I feel like it's gonna result good for Tennessee.
Yeah, so you know what? Something else too, y'all. Just kind of like looking at Joe Milton's numbers through those first 3 games of the 2022 season. He only played in 1 versus Ball State, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check on that. I think so, but he was 8 for 9 for 113 yards with 1 touchdown, and his average was 12.6. So just to kind of show you, so Hendon Hooker was 18 of 25 for 271 with an 8.8 yard average, and he had 2 touchdowns. So, excuse me. I mean, they trusted Joe to be able to throw those deeper passes last year. I think that they're only averaging like 6.6 yards per pass this season. So that's something that we definitely got to fix. Let me see here. This is Mike Harmon. What's going on, Mike? He says, is it due to so many new player positions? Timing could be a slight trust issue, O-line, blocking scheme. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big combination of all of those different factors. Obviously, the offensive line didn't play well, but something else. Just talking about Golish's offense versus Bama last week, their offensive line held up well. I mean, like their entire it didn't hold up well, but they were still able to throw the ball down the field. So I think that I don't know. I think it's something different in the way that we're calling plays this season that maybe could be kind of throwing off what the offensive line is doing. Obviously, Cooper Mays is out. We need to get him back. That's going to help out tremendously. But, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to try to figure that out. And actually, for everybody in here, if you are a sub, we're going to do a poll real quick. Give me a second. We about done. Hold on. So we're going to get to that poll here in just a minute. But, like I was saying, man, I mean, we have to figure out what the issue is. And, I was thinking maybe it's the defense, but the defense even looks better than it did last season. So, it's kind of hard to be able to quantify it. All right. So for those of you in here right now, we're going to run a poll. Let's see if we can get this thing up there. All right. Well, we're gonna work on getting it back up here in just a minute. For those of you who missed it, we just put a live poll up. I would love to get everybody's feedback off of that, and just figure out what y'all think the issue is. But all right, so let's go ahead and kind of start to get into some of the UTSA talk. Unless y'all have any questions on what we just talked about, or if y'all have any thoughts, comments, concerns, we're going to kind of start to move on to UTSA. So number one thing, man, their offense is kind of a spread offense, but they mostly like to run. Obviously their starting quarterback, for those of you who didn't know, is probably going to be out. I think he's on like the questionable list.
Questionable with the toe injury. I
Yeah.
believe.
So, I've seen him play. I mean, I'm not too impressed with what he does, just to be honest with you. He's a very, very mobile quarterback, talking about the starter. If he plays, and his name is Frank Harris. He's number 0. He's about 6 feet, 205 pounds. But I mean, he's a really shifty guy. But he's not the best passer by any means. And I think that he might be more or less a bigger reason, or a bigger part of the reason that they haven't won more games. Also, the offensive line is not great. They're kind of solid with fundamentals. They just tend to get overmatched. They played against Army last week.
Yeah.
What did you think about that game?
I didn't really, have a chance to really watch it, but from the things I saw that they were pretty much getting overwhelmed by Army's front.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Tennessee is gonna be able to achieve there on their D line, be able to get to the quarterback hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that that we should have several sacks in this game. I mean, we should have several. I'm gonna say over under is maybe, we can call it 4. I think we might have
5.
more than I think that we could get more than 5. Now, every team that we've played against so far has been really, really quick. It's been 3-step drops, or catch it and throw it out east west. UTSA does a ton of that. And I was kind of trying to get to this point, but I think that the backup quarterback, the guy who more than likely will be playing, I think that he's a much better passer. And he's really similar to what we saw last week out of Mertz.
Yeah.
He's almost like the exact same player. Obviously, he's not as good or as polished, but pretty much like the exact same guy. Now, they really like to run that football, and they do a really good job. They've got 3 great I wouldn't say great. They've got 3 really good backs.
Two running backs over 200 yards.
Yeah.
I think that's impressive.
Yeah. So the first one that they run mostly is Barnes. He's he's 5'9", 220 pounds. He almost kind of pushing him out of like a Travis Henry. But I mean, obviously he's not that good, but he's kind of that type of a running back, just a little bit faster. It's kind of got like that bowling ball stature to him. Obviously, last week we saw how the defense missed a whole bunch of tackles.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really big game for them to get that back right, because these running backs do run hard, but I just think that we're stronger than them. So, it should help them with their confidence a little bit. Let's see what we got here. D. Taylor says Mays and Mincy both being out is what screwed us so bad, in my opinion. Our offensive line was terrible pre-snap and didn't get any better once snap. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that a 1,000,000%. Mincy, he's got to be starting over Crawford. And I don't know. I mean, obviously he had the off the field issues, but I think that if you're even going to play him on special teams, and if it's a big game like that, I mean, why not throw him out there? You know what I'm saying? Like if he's going to sit, let him sit out this week. You know what I mean? Especially once you saw that Crawford was kind of getting beat like he stole something out there. Now let's see who else we got. Mike Harmon again says, need to get run game going to establish field position. Absolutely. I think last week we kind of had some trouble with that because the offensive line just was not getting any type of push. Running backs ran really, really hard, though. We talked about that. Jalen Wright's been running hard. Small played okay, I think. And then Dylan Sampson didn't get to see the field at all. And I think that he tweeted something saying he's like a cage cheater. Okay, yeah, posted on his IG. Yeah. What do you say?
I think he posted I'm a cage cheater and not getting, basically saying I need more touches, but I'm not getting them right now.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand why Joshua Josephs didn't play last week. I don't know. I think I heard that he's kind of banged up, but I mean, we got we gotta start playing guys, man. Let's see here. Pam Harris says, I think offensive line play is the biggest issue on offense. We can't throw downfield because we can't protect. Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's kind of like what we're just talking about. we've got to be able to get that offensive line shored up, and we can't sit around and keep trying to wait on Cooper Mays to get back, or on anybody who's not playing. Whoever's in has got to step up. So hopefully we can have some people step up, and then too, we're going to talk about some other things once P does get on here with maybe some different looks that we could give to defenses to maybe slow down pass rushes, and just maybe kind of get some, get like a spark or something out of this offense. But back to UTSA. Hold on, let me get you in here real quick. For Trep One says, if we get a big lead this weekend, and that's a big if, do we see Nico and Cam Seldon? So, I mean, oh boy, I would definitely hope so. I feel like we have so many running backs. I don't know if Cam Seldon's going to be able to see the field. I mean, heck, Dylan Sampson hasn't even been seen. We were just talking about that. So we've got a lot of guys who I feel like need to be seeing the field. Ethan Davis is somebody else. Like you said, man, we have not gotten up big like we should have in these early games to get these younger guys reps. But yeah, so now with Nico, I'm really, really curious to see how that's going to play out, because I'm wondering if Josh Heupel might kind of feel like Joe Milton is kind of fragile at this point, and he might not want to maybe throw Nico out there and then Nico balls out, and then it turns into more of a controversy than it's already been. But I'll just say this: if I was coaching in this offense, Nico would already have been starting, because he fits the offensive system a lot better, and it would be easier on me, as a play caller, to scheme stuff up for somebody who can make plays on his own, versus having to pretty much scheme up the entire game and tell somebody exactly what to do, or they're just pretty much not going to do anything. We've seen that too many times with Joe. When we at least got to have a pass, he just runs out of bounds. Like, give us a chance. Don't be scared to throw interceptions. Just go out there, make plays.
Yeah,
So,
go
ahead.
I think what I would do if I was Heupel this week is I would go like two possessions. So I would go Joe for like the first two, Nico for the first two, and just basically after that, whoever's playing better probably let them run.
Yeah,
but that would be something I would try to do, because I feel like you said, I feel like Joe is more of a stand in the pocket type of guy, and I feel like Tennessee's offense needs like Nico's gonna make a play, so I feel like that's something you need out of Tennessee offense. I feel like Nico's gives Tennessee the best chance to win.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because most of the fans feel like that, but I always say this: we don't see them all the time. We don't see them play every day, but I've seen enough out of Joe Milton to know that Nico would probably give us a better chance to have a more productive offense.
Just seeing Nico like the fall practices and spring games,
spring practice,
just letting me know like he's a baller, he's a gamer, but he's a big gamer.
Absolutely. Hey, so I want to get back to something real quick. Was y'all able to see that poll that I had put up? Did y'all see that? I need somebody to let me know, because we're just testing that out. And then JL says Nico is a gamer. That's big facts. He definitely is, man. Nico is just an all-out baller. Yeah. But I mean, you know what? I really feel like Coach Heupel is gonna mix some things up with this offense, and he's gonna get it back going. He has to mold it around Joe. He has to mold it around Joe and the offensive line. All right, so we're going to get back to where we was with the matchup. So again, back to what UTSA likes to do on offense. It's a lot of east-west stuff. It's a lot of they've got a bigger looking tight end. He's number 9. He's probably not going to be that big once he gets on the field with us. But, he's mostly just a blocking guy. They keep him inside of the box a lot. They just like to play pretty much like power football as much as possible. And they'll test you deep too. Everything that they throw is like outside of the numbers type of a deal. So our secondary this week is they're going to be tested. They're going to be tested more than anybody else, more than likely. It just really all depends on what the offensive game plan is going to be. I think that some teams will probably try to do what Florida did, and a lot of crossing routes, a lot of motion type stuff. Maybe try to hit us over the middle of the field. And if they do that, then it's going to be back on our linebackers to make some plays. They're just young, and golly, I don't know if for any of y'all who got to sit in on some of that film session, you saw. I mean, they're just like a step too slow, just misreading stuff. So it would be good for them to get some more work, but more than likely, man, the cornerbacks and safeties are going to get a lot of work this week. So I think that they're going to play really, really well too. All right. So Darren Weaver says, tough poll, but I've got to say offensive line. We just look out of sync and too many penalties that really set drives back, not to mention not holding up to the pass rush. Yeah, that's exactly right. Hey, is that poll still up? Let me see. All right. So, yeah, we've, definitely got to get that offensive line fixed. But, yeah, it's going to be a really big day for our pass rush, big day for the guys on the outside. And I expect for us to tackle way better. I don't know. Y'all give me y'all's thoughts on what we need to do, on what y'all would like to see from this defense for sure. Okay, so, and we was talking about running backs. Like I said, number 4 is number 4 is okay. So number 4 is Barnes. Number 20 is Robert Henry. That's another running back. He's really, really good. Runs hard. He's more of their like big playback, right? So his average, I think he's averaging 6.4 yards a carry. So he's got the highest average out of any of their backs. Really, really fast guy, but he's a smaller kid, 5'10", 190. Again, it's going to come down to being able to tackle in the open field. What else we got here? Rocco Griffin. That's the other one. Pretty much same deal. 5'10", 205. He's a shiftier guy. He's kind of like a mixed balance between those two guys. I would say that the first guy, Barnes, is a lot more of a power back, and Henry is a lot more of a scat back, and then Griffin is he's a nicely balanced back. So, and let's see here. John Baxter says he wants to see some more of Gibson and the young defensive backs. Yes, sir. Definitely do. Definitely do. I'm curious to see what their technique looks like in this game. What I saw out of Gibson last week was he would come up and play pressure. And I've seen this out of all of our corners. Safeties too. Whenever they come up to that line of scrimmage, they're not physical there. So I disagree with coming up to the line and not getting your hands on that guy, because you're letting them just run free. And it's almost impossible. It's like if you're going to race, like if you're racing somebody like 20 yards, and if you're starting backwards and you have to turn and run with them, what they're doing. So I disagree with that technique. Yeah,
definitely be more physical at the line.
Have to be a lot more physical at that line of scrimmage. I'm gonna try to put this poll back up, and y'all just let me know if y'all can see it. All right, so I know there's a little bit of a delay. God, Guns, and Ammo. What a great name. Says, what's up, fellas? Go Vols. Yes, sir. Go Big Orange. Mike Harmon says, Bull and Nephew. Nephew's name is Bray. It says, tough question. Is 6 years enough to start trusting? I agree with your nephew. 2 series each. Whomever gets it done, ball out. Yeah, so he's talking about Joe, but it's 6 years. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel the exact same way, Mike. It's really, really frustrating. Actually, you know what? This is funny because I was watching. I think it was Tom Brady. He was on a show called Valuetainment. It's a YouTube show. It's a YouTube channel. But he was doing a interview, and he was just talking about how whenever he went up to Michigan, how he's having a battle out, and pretty much like his coach. I think it was Coach Carr at that time. He would have like a series on and a series off, and if one of the players messed up, then they were out. So I don't know if that would fly these days. I think that people would probably transfer out. Yeah. I think you kind of just got to be careful with that. I mean, like, would I do it? Has it worked? I would say yeah. because I feel like we need to be able to see. You know what I'm saying? Who is the real baller out of those two? So if it was up to me, I would say absolutely. But I think that Joe Milton is a little bit too fragile, and I feel like the coaching staff knows that, so they probably wouldn't even test him.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of now or never, like almost.
Well, what do you mean by that when you say that?
I feel like Tennessee got to like pretty much say like if we lose another game, we're pretty much done with the playoffs. So I feel like they got to go win now mode. Whoever's going to give them the best chance to win.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what they have to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would say that too. I don't know. It's tough for me to quantify it. I've never met Coach Heupel, so I don't know what he's thinking. And, I'm not up on campus. But, yeah, I mean, shoot. Like I said, if it was up to me, I don't care if you're a 6th, 7th, 8-year senior. If you're not better than a true freshman, he or she is going to be playing over you. That's just how that goes. JL says Gaston Moore if we have to. Yeah, I mean, I would take – I don't care who it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any personal ties to anybody. Whoever is the best player needs to play everywhere, period. So, and, like some of y'all have kind of pointed out, I think the same thing about corner. I think we've got some better cover corners like, Ricky Gibson, if he can be taught better technique than what Coach Martinez has been teaching him. And, he also probably needs to work on being more physical. I've seen him kind of get blocked and not be as strong at the point of contact tackling-wise. So that might be why he's not playing as much, but he's a lot better in coverage just from what I've seen than like Judy Lally. Judy Lally is, if it's not like a squat zone coverage, I'm just not too impressed with him on down the field routes, and he's going to get tested. I know that a lot of people are kind of hard on Haddon, which rightfully so. He definitely has to tackle better, and he has to be able to play within himself more. But for the most part, man, I mean, he's been tested more than anybody else on this team, at least out of that secondary, and he's played well. If you also go back, I'm going through looking at the stats from the first 3 games last season, and, he had a pick in almost every single game. He has more interceptions, I think, than anybody on this entire team. So, I mean, he's definitely doing okay. We just got to get more consistency out of him and everybody else. Darren Weaver says Milton definitely has confidence issues, which is not a good thing when things get tough. Absolutely not, man. Like he's got to be able to get that fixed. That's something that he's going to have to work on. So we're going to take a little break from that real quick. I'm going to try to see, actually, Bray, if you want to kind of go through some more of what you see here with their team or, some of the other, man, or, like with just what you saw off of the film. Just bear with me for just a second. I'm going to try to get this trivia thing up, and y'all just let me know if y'all can see it. Like we said, we're still new, and we're still just trying to figure it out. So hopefully we'll be able to get this thing going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what'd you see out of UTSA? Yeah.
They look like a pretty decent team. I think Tennessee should blow them out. But I mean, I feel like their offense is, like you said, a lot of downhill and then side to side, a lot of play action stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I think this is gonna be a big week for the defense. Really just trying to get their confidence back.
Yeah.
I mean, and really for the offense too. They just get their confidence back because only putting up 16 points, when you're used to putting up 40s and 50s. Which I think that's another thing that might be an issue. I think these players might be like a little overconfident, and just think it's kind of easy at this point. But hopefully, they can get back to what they were doing before. Come out have a pretty statement win on Saturday. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, man. So here we go. Let me see. That might not be. Yeah, man. I mean, we most definitely do. We have to. I don't know if it's an overconfidence issue. It seems like I don't know. I don't know if I want to say it this way, but it does seem like something is going on inside of that locker room, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. If any of y'all have any inside information on that, definitely let us know because. I mean, I just cannot understand.
Well, what you bring that up, that actually, it's kind of off topic, but Bama having locker room issues about, who their quarterback is. Hopefully, with Milroe coming in, maybe they wanted Milroe from the beginning. That's why they didn't really play as good last week. We don't know, but that's just something I kind of thought of with you, bring up the locker room issues.
Do you think that there's any truth to what they're saying about Bama having locker room issues, or do you think that's just something that somebody's making up?
I mean, I think it's some truth. When you bring in Milrow and he really has a good game or a really good game and then a decent game, but you're playing versus a top 5 team, and then you just bench him for 2 quarterbacks who didn't really look as good, and people in the locker room, like, they see that every single day.
Yeah.
So they probably feel like there's a clear guy. I feel like Milrow been that guy. So I feel like there's some truth to that, but also saving. He has very good control of the locker room. He's a GOAT. So just I feel like it's some truth, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious if, like, everybody's wanting. I'm curious if Nico does play some, if that's going to cause an issue inside of our locker room, because it does seem like, like I said, it seems like something is going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just hate to do anything. If anything is fragile with this team, I'd hate for the wheels just to completely fall off.
Especially with the transfer portal now.
Yeah. Y'all let me know if y'all can see this trivia. And if you do, basically all you're going to do here is, you read the question and you're going to respond with the number of the selection of the answer that you want to choose inside of the chat. And the trivia will count everyone's answer. So first one this is an easy one. This is a throw-up question, just a warm-up question. Which of these is the name of the largest city in the state of Tennessee? Is it Thebes, Memphis? Let's see. Did we get our answers in quick enough? So something else too now with this is that the fastest person will also win. So get those answers in fast. And it's calculating. Okay. All right, there we go. So it is working. We just want to test it out. We're going to have a whole lot more of this, just so y'all know. All right, so that's the results of question 1. And it's going to move on to the second one. All right, so we've got 23 seconds until the next question. And I also want for you. All right, so Bray, I want for you to start answering these questions too, and I'm gonna keep a tally of it. We're gonna see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're gonna see what's going on. All right, so let's see if we can. Let's see if we can read off some more of these. So JL says, feel like we missed on a number of these transfers this season. I'm gonna get right back to you, JL. All right, so who was the first football coach at the University of Tennessee? Is it 1, Robert Nealon, 2, Philip Farmer, 3, Lake Stone, or 4, J.A. Pierce?
I said 1.
Bray's answer was 1. All right. We'll see. So back to you, JL. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a really good question. Hey, look, something else too, y'all. There's no cheating. Don't be looking these answers up. Y'all have to play it fair. But yeah, I think that maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe we did miss. Maybe we did miss on some guys, but we also hit on some guys. Like, I'm gonna tell you somebody who I didn't think was gonna be as good as he is. But Omar Norman Lott, he's been playing well. He's actually suspended for the first half of this upcoming game, but I'm actually very, very pleasantly surprised and pleased with how he's played so far. Hasn't been perfect, but he's definitely been one of our better players on that line. Now, I would say, I mean, obviously when you look at Andre, he's starting at that left guard spot, but he does kind of get pushed around. He's not horrible. So yeah, Lott and Castles, yeah, man, both of them. Castles, I knew Castles was going to be good. I saw that off of his film. I thought that Gabe Judy-Lally was going to play better. He hasn't played 100% horrible. They just have to know where to use him at. He's not a down the field type of a guy. All right, so next question says, how many first-round draft picks does the University of Tennessee have in football? Is it 1, 61, 2, 58, 3, 45, or 4, 34? Keenan Pili, I think, is the best transfer player that we got. That's from Mike Harmon. Yes, he is a beast, and I can't wait for him to come back. What do you pick right here, Bray?
3.
You're picking number 3. Okay. And I know all the answers to these questions. So I'll be able to let you know. Hey, so guys, make sure that you select the number of the answer that you want to select. So, like for John Baxter, if you wanted to choose 61, I think that was number 1.
Came up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind. It still works. So the correct answer was 45. And it looked like nobody got that.
45.
Wait a second. Is that what you picked?
Yeah, I picked 3.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's one for you, Bray. I know that you missed the other one, and you missed the first one because you didn't answer it. All right. So we got 2 more questions in this right here. But yeah, man, I think that who else do we have as a transfer? Trying to remember. I think that's pretty much like that. Oh, you know what? Dante Thornton.
Yeah, Dante Thornton.
Yeah. Braylon. Yeah, Mike Harmon's asking, is it Braden? It's Bray. Yes, sir. So now is this question number 4? Yeah. Who is the University of Tennessee's all-time leader in tackles? Is it number 1, Reggie White, number 2, Jackie Walker, number 3, Andy Spiva, or number 4, Al Wilson?
1, I got Reggie White.
Yep, and JL saying Pilly. And Jeff Head says, when is Keenan Pilly expected back? That is a good question. And we don't really have an answer to it. But I'm thinking maybe they're going to try to push for the South Carolina game. I don't know. You know, I believe that he has a torn tricep. So that takes a little while after the surgery for that to heal up. But yeah, we most definitely need him back. He should definitely be back by the Georgia game. What's going to be crazy? And the correct answer was Andy Spiva. I think I'm saying that correctly. So what'd you pick?
Think Reggie White.
Yeah, oh yeah, you did. You picked 1, so that's another one. Wow. That's another one wrong. So Darren Weaver, Carrick been getting playing time too. Yeah. So that's kind of who I was talking about. Dre, he's played okay for the most part. He didn't look good at all last week. And I didn't think that he was going to be great, just to be completely honest. Looking at his game film, I didn't see it. Coming from Texas, and they pretty much used him as a blocking tight end. And, he didn't see too much playing time other than that. Also, John Campbell, I think he's been pretty solid. John Campbell has been pretty solid at that left tackle position, but we could get more out of him too. And we've got to, I don't know what's going on. We got to step it up. All right, so this is the 5th and last question. Which phrase comes directly before the first chorus of Rocky Top? Is it number 1, yeehaw? Is it 2, trap like a duck in a pan? Is it number 3, I still dream about that? Or is it number 4, get their corn from a jar? What you got right there?
Well, I used to listen to Rocky Top all the time, so I probably should know this.
Yeah. After the first chorus, yeah. So he used to. Too late. I might need to put more time on there for y'all to answer these questions. Oh wait, hold on, y'all.
Hey, what's going on?
There he is.
What's up? Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
In here, man. Sorry, I was just getting back from Cason's practice, so.
Yeah, man.
I'm straight on when I could.
It's all good. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We're just getting done with this trivia, and you know what? I was gonna have you and Bray go like head to head and see who was gonna win. But yeah, Bray did what'd you get there, Bray? You got 2 out of 5.
Yeah, 40%,
which is not bad. Yeah, we're about to see. Yeah, man, we're about to see
almost 50%. That ain't bad.
Yep. So we're about to get into this UTSA talk, and just kind of let these fellow Vol fans know what we see, and I would love to hear what they see too. All right, so this is the leaderboard. Number 1 is that John Baxter? It's hard to see; it's kind of small, and it looks like number 2 does that say Glitchy Blue? What's that say?
So Glitchy Blue Devil.
Glitchy Blue Devil. And then number 3 is JL. And Carmen P, he's saying, he's saying what's up to you.
What's up, JL?
Yep. So with John Baxter being our winner, P, tell him what he won.
$1 million.
Nah, man. But hey, you know what? You're gonna get a big go Vols from us. And as we keep on doing this, maybe we can do like some type of giveaway or some prizes. I think that would be fun. Hey, and then also too, y'all let us know what y'all thought about the trivia down in the chat and everything, and if we should continue doing that type of stuff. Oh, okay, I see it now. Gate City Blue Devil.
Fun fact: that's where Mac McClung went to school. You know, he did that in the dunk contest this year.
Oh, really? Okay. Excellent. That is a fun fact. How the heck did you know that, Bray?
I used to see him on overtime all the time. He was doing dunks.
Okay. So let me get to some of these chats real quick. So JL says, field goal kicker seems good. Hey, you know what? Special team seems great. Yeah, man. I was pleasantly surprised. Well, not, I'm happy with Campbell as the kicker. And Jackson Ross looked great punting. So that's always a really, really good deal. And Jeff says, got to get it right this week. The schedule gets real after this week. If Nico is healthy, he needs to get snaps this week. For sure, he absolutely does. I mean, we're probably over processing this, but I think that Nico should play. I think that he needs to get some type of playing time this week, whether we're up big or not. And I would rather, and P, you tell me what you think, but I would rather see him in some crunch time minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see. I mean, that's kind of what we touched on in our live stream the other day. Maybe we'll come out 2 or 3 series of Joe. Hopefully, that's 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then we go 2 or 3 series of Nico. Kind of almost like he's the co-starter, but I don't think it'll be that way. It's going to be Joe all the way. But this is Nico's last real shot, probably, to get in until we play. I think we got some scrub team towards the end of the year, but this is his last chance to really get in. So hopefully he gets in this week.
Yeah, man. So you know what? You and Bray sound the exact same. Bray said the exact same thing. All right, so let's see here. JL says Joe's completion percentage. So if you're asking what it is, it's over 60%. It's actually good, but he also hasn't really thrown the ball down the field very much. But even when he has, he hasn't been terrible. It's not like he honestly speaking has not been a bad quarterback. I mean, he's been pretty accurate. So
I mean, I feel like with Joe, man, it's just been 2 or 3 bad throws, but it seems to come at the worst time. You know what I mean? Like on a key 4th down, he'll make a skip it in the dirt like he did against Florida. I think he did it twice on the 4th down. he skipped it in the dirt. But other than that, I mean, he's, I like what I've seen from him. Like if you go back and watch that Florida tape, that last drive or the last couple drives, the drive he kept hitting Brew, kept going to Brew that whole drive. I mean, he's dropping back, delivering a strike, and then we get to the 4th down. We got to have it. Scrolls out to the right, skips it, skips in the dirt. So, I mean, he's been good for the most part. It's just those critical timing errors that he makes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And that's the other thing too. And we talk about this all the time. It's just that it factor that it feels like Joe just doesn't have. He just does not have it. And we've seen it, like you said, too many times in those critical moments. He just does not live up to the billing. And trying to be more positive. I don't want to just harp on that the entire time because we were talking about this earlier, P. We do still feel like we've got a good team. We just have to change up some things. I personally feel like Hype to kind of have his imprint on this offense even more. Probably take away some more control from Joe and literally say, look, this is exactly what you need to do. Simplify the offense more. And just let him go out there, not even have to think, and just be able to play. I think that'll put us in a pretty good position.
But if you listen to Halsley and Heupel, I mean, they say he makes the right decisions and right reads. I honestly think almost the opposite. I almost think they need to just cut it open more.
Really,
have these guys go vertical more. But that's something we're talking about too. Is who's to blame for the lack of vertical shots? Is it Heupel? Is it Halsley? Is it Milton? Somebody, a group we didn't mention was the receivers because we run a lot of option routes.
Yeah.
Are these receivers just not choosing to try to take the top off? And giving him that chance? I mean, that's I don't know, but he needs to be throwing it deep way more because he's been accurate and we've been successful for the most part.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really interesting point. And we talked about this at the end of last season. We knew the teams were going to start playing that shell coverage and force us to drive down the field, shorter passes. And so, we knew that we would have to be able to run the ball a lot better this season than we did last season. And so maybe that is a big part of it. Maybe they just don't feel comfortable with those deep passes. But now let me also tell you this. We saw this last week in the film, or not last week, but we saw this whatever day I did that film session on Florida. We saw Florida come out in quarters, and we were able to get somebody isolated. I think it was Keaton, and we throw it up to him deep. That was that first bomb that Joe missed on, but that was a deep coverage, and still get people open. So
yeah.
I don't even think that. Yeah, I mean, we should still be able to scheme people open.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that like the deep ball is such a 50-50 shot. Like, even if a guy looks like he's in good position, like once the ball's in the air, I mean, we saw with our DBs a lot last year. They can kind of be in good position, but how well do you play the ball in the air? I think we got to start just giving our guys a chance to go make a play and just kind of see how it goes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm on the same page with you. Okay. So So JL, he says that he's talking about Joe Milton's QBR. Yes. So his QBR is really, really low. I think it's like 40 something. It's astronomically low. Yeah, and see, it's like that because he's not throwing the ball down the field. You know what I mean?
They need to take more deep shots, as you're saying.
Yeah.
But more deep shots, like I said, it's 50-50 ball. And I feel like if you throw up to like Brew and Keaton, they're gonna come down with it more than like 60-70%.
That's like a 70-30 ball. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Brew is a dog for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We gotta start force feeding him way more.
Yeah.
Yep. Darren Weaver says we need explosive plays like last year. Yes, we do. Yep. So we'll see, man. I mean, Pete, what do you think that we're going to come out in? All right, so we were talking about the offense that we're going to see on Saturday, and I would like to get your thoughts on what you see out of that offense first.
Out of UTSA?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like we were talking about. I think yesterday we were kind of talking about it on the phone. I mean, they like to run the ball. But when you look at the stats, I mean, they're pretty balanced. You know what I mean? Like you'll see about 35 runs and about 35 passes. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty balanced. They have some pretty talented looking backs. I was surprised their O-line they look big. I didn't look up their measurements, but they look like a real O-line. They got a couple of good looking athletes. I mean, they look like a legitimate team. I think if they just had on just like a blank jersey, you might think that they were an ACC team or something like that. Like they look legit. But the quarterback leaves a lot to be desired. He's athletic, can scramble, extend plays like that. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to really give us too much of a challenge. I mean, we should be able to hold those guys in check. You know what I mean? Like they don't really have anything that jumps off the tape at you. They're just, like a decently talented team, but nothing like they don't do anything special. You know what I mean? They don't really have an identity. In my opinion, you know what I mean? They're still trying to kind of figure that out, I guess.
Yeah,
and I think their starter went out too, so I don't think he'll be playing against us anyway.
Yeah, so this is something we was just talking about it, and I feel like that backup quarterback is a better passer overall, and not to say he's definitely not great, but I think he's better than the starter. He's not as mobile, but he's still kind of mobile. I think he's almost like a poor man's Mertz. I mean, he's really similar. You know what I'm saying? He's very, very similar to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to definitely be a good test for our guys. Like I said, they got a big, beefy O-line. But, I mean, we should be able to, beat them with speed, beat them with power. I think this is kind of like the perfect game for us coming off that loss because I think they're going to give us enough of a test for us to kind of really kind of see what we got. But I don't think that we should really be in any real jeopardy of losing this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And I'm gonna get to some of these chats. Rains Cook says he definitely has the physical capabilities, yet lacks the super high football IQ at times. 2-point conversion, when he ran out of bounds, wasted the timeouts. 4th and 1 should have snapped while Florida was subbing. Exactly right. And then he goes on to also. I'm sorry. No, this is Brian Roberts. He says Joe reminds me of a golfer or baseball or basketball player.
Yeah,
he does.
What do you mean by that?
Yes. Sometimes he is hot, and other times he puts one off in the woods. No consistency. Man, I agree with that 1,000,000%. And I don't know what you do to try to find that consistency within him. I don't know. Is there anything that we can do?
6-year senior or something. Like,
I mean, is there anything we can do?
That's something we talk about a lot, is him being a 6-year guy, but we also got to realize he hasn't really like played a ton of football. Like he hasn't really been a starter. You know what I mean? This is only like his 4th or 5th career start, something like that. Like he's still relatively inexperienced, like being the guy. You know what I mean? So like for example, in the Swamp, that was his first real road game. So of course he's going to kind of have some miscommunication, kind of some nerves. So I think we throw out the 6-year senior guy thing, but he's still kind of relatively young. You know what I mean? Like being like an actual like contributor to the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It seems like he's one of those guys. I mean, gosh, I'm really not trying to be negative, but it seems like he's like a prototypical like backup kind of a guy. You know, I mean, he's a guy that, you know, he's gonna have that smile on the face. He's just gonna be, you know, like even killed whenever you come off of the you know, field. You know what I mean? You can always look at a good, happy guy. You know what I mean? You know, he can come in and still be serviceable. You know, if you had to take a bill or something like that, I just don't see him as that, you know, next level starter. I just don't see that out of him at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get to let's see here. John Baxter says anytime Brew gets one-on-one, it should be automatic for Joe to give it to him. Like we did Tillman in 21. I agree. Absolutely. That's, you know, I think we all know that. There's no reason we need to be forcing it to him. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Gary Weaver says the trajectory of Joe's ball seems like it's hard to throw the 50-50 balls effectively. That's an interesting point. Yeah, I mean that's something that he just has to work on. But his arm is so strong, no effort, just flick it. You know, just flick it with your wrist and be able to do that. All right, so we kind of talked about, you know, what UTSA's offense looks like, and P, you had talked about their offensive line looking big. I don't think that they are that big. Their players looked really, really big to me, but I looked at their size and stuff. I was like, oh, they're not that big. You know, they're playing against, you know, Texas States and Armies, and you know what I mean? Yeah. Playing against bigger teams. But what I will say is that they've got 3 wide receivers. The first one is number 2. I think it's Joshua Cephas. He's 6'3", 185, which is about average from what we'll see in SEC play. But
he's their best guy too.
Yep, and that's their best guy. So that's going to be a good challenge for the cornerbacks. They like to, you know, isolate him on those deep passes. Then they've got number 14. Or I'm sorry, actually no, they've got Tyree Ogle Kellogg. He's 6'5", 225. Now he's big. You know, he's a much bigger guy. You know, he's not super fast, but he uses his body well. So that's their second highest targeted guy. You know, that's going to be interesting to see how we play him. I wonder, do we play more man-to-man, you know, against a guy like that? Or
I would. Heck, a guy like that, I mean, typically those big, long guys, you know, you get up there and you try to press those guys because they're going to have a hard time usually getting off press.
Yeah, I mean, they're a big, huge target, right? Yeah, but I mean, but what do you think Coach Banks is going to do, though? Like, do you think we'll see more of that? Because we played a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3 last week.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know what? I think since we got, like, usually you find out who you are after that first loss. So now that we lost, I mean, I expect us to come out, you know, this week and just let it all out. You know what I mean? Like, play more aggressive. Blitz, press man, take shots. I mean, maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I mean, that's what I'm hoping to see, and that's what I'm expecting to see. I just don't see him playing soft zone anymore. You know what I mean? I'm so tired of seeing it.
I am too, man. I think especially against some of these, I wouldn't necessarily call them lesser teams, but especially if you know that the quarterback for the other team is not very, very talented, why not just play man and put some pressure on him? I don't understand that.
Yeah, let's get after these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they've also got another wide receiver. He's number 14. He's 6 feet, 185 pounds. His name is Devin. I think it's McEwen. That's how you pronounce his last name. Now, this guy, I want to say that he's a true freshman. He's really, really fast. So we got to watch him. Yeah, so they like to get it out to him quick. You know, again, this is going to be a good test for our secondary, and I think this is going to be like a bounce back game for us. Like you said, Pete, this is exactly what we needed. Let me see what people are talking about in the chat. Darren Weaver says, I hope Heck turns it. I think he's trying to say, I hope he turns it up and builds that confidence back and hopefully gets a turnover or 2. Yep. Brian Roberts says, I think he might be talking about, I don't know. Defense, yeah, maybe he's talking about the defense, but yeah, maybe Darren, you could tell us if you're talking about somebody specifically who that is. Brian Roberts, I also wish Joe had the ability to juke a player like Hendon when he takes off. Yeah, man. that's just not Joe's game, man. But I wish that they would do some more like read option stuff with him. You know what I mean? Because like what we saw a lot more of last week was like designed quarterback runs. And I just don't, he's not a good enough runner for you to do that. You know what I mean? Like, let's have a threat of somebody else possibly getting it and then let him scamper some. And do that, you know, I don't know, once every 7 or 8 plays. You know what I'm saying? Like, just throw that quite, you know, frequently.
Yeah.
That'll help to open up everything else.
Yeah. And I'll help him settle down, you know, once he's, you know, it help him kind of play more like looser and more backyard ball, like kind of how we want to see him play.
Exactly. Brains Cook says, I really thought that first scripted drive that went to that went so smooth and ended with the Ramel touchdown would have given Joe the confidence to carry him through the game. Unscripted equals sloppy that night. Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about that. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, well, here's the thing about that scripted drive. I can remember 2 plays. One of them was a deep shot to Squirrel, and the other one was the fade. I mean, they let him throw the freaking ball instead of whatever the heck they've been doing. You know, like these dig routes and stuff. I mean, he does those decent, but he needs to be throwing vertical. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I mean that's an excellent point. Go ahead. Did you about to say something?
No.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. I think that it's like you said, letting Joe throw the ball deep. Obviously, you know, that's going to soften up any defense. And then I also think that another big part of it was that it was scripted and that there was no, you know, maybe it was like, hey, like we don't even need to like audible. I think that Hypo came out and knew exactly what they were going to do on defense. So everything was just perfect. And Joe is able to operate better like that. But if he's got an audible, you know, if he's got to do any of that, that's when stuff tends to like fall apart. So I don't know what we can do to keep him from doing that. Just maybe say, hey, look, you know, like we'll give you 2 different plays. If the pass is not there, then just run it. You know what I mean? Like if pass is not there, do like a read option on this drive. Next option, something else. Just to make it really simple for him. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
All right, so Darren Weaver, he's talking about the defense's play calling. And yeah, I mean, we've definitely got to dial up a much better game than what we dialed up last week. Brian Roberts says, would love to see some read option stuff. Great point. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have to put that into this offense coming up. So now let's go to their defense versus our offense while we're speaking of our offense. What I noticed and what I absolutely love about what their defense does is that they show you what they're doing. There's a secret. They do not like hide it in any sort of a way. I think we could put a 6th grade quarterback out there and he would be able to tell you what coverage the defense is playing. Yeah, I think, and I'm not saying this to try to slight Joe, but I'm saying that this is a good game for him to get some confidence in and being able to say, oh, well, you know, I can see what this is. And sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need to have kind of like an easier game or, you know, kind of like we've talked about previously, you know, to take some time out and kind of like watch from the sidelines so that the game will slow back down for you. I think that Joe needs that. So, you know, I think that he's going to ball. Have you seen much of what they're doing, Pete?
I mean, you know, again, they look like they got some guys over there. I mean, nothing too crazy. Their backers left a little bit to be desired. I know they got that one guy, I think he wears number 8. He looks like he's pretty solid player at linebacker. But again, their D-line, I mean, they have two big looking tackles in there. Maybe it was deceiving, but they look like they were 300 plus. I mean, they look big. I mean, they look like they should be able to get some good knockback. But I mean, I saw Army kind of pushing them around. Looks like Texas State was kind of pushing them around a little bit. So, you know, I mean, look like Tarzan, play like Jane, I guess, is kind of their mantra. But yeah, I mean, you know, again, so much offense, nothing that really scares me. I think it's just like a perfect opportunity for us to go out there. Their DBs didn't wow me. I mean, nothing really wowed me. You know what I mean? It's a very mediocre looking team.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, again, this is a game for us to be able to bounce back. Our front 7 should have an absolute and total field day. Yeah. You know, I feel like we should, and we've been kind of, I guess, miscalculating how these games are going to play out because it's a big difference from how it should go and the way it is going. But I do think that this week we're going to get it back on track. Like you said, their defensive line is relatively weak. You know, it's not a big pass rush threat. And it looks like their base defense is a 3-4. I've seen them play nickel. Their best pass rusher is number one, or I'm sorry, yeah, he's number one. His name is Trey Moore, 6'3", 235 pounds. He leads their team with 4 sacks. You only have 4 sacks against some of these teams that they've played against. I mean, I'm just gonna say it, man. Like we should dominate. This is a game that we should dominate up front. Our skill guys should be able to get passes, have nice big holes to get some good runs. We should be able to see everybody, get 3 to 4 deep into our depth chart. I think that they come back with a vengeance this week. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I think. Bray, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they come out. I think they come out with a lot more freedom on both offense and defense. They both open up the play calling a little more, let Joe throw the ball down the field, design some blitzes, play press, man. I just feel like this is the perfect game to get the confidence back.
Yeah.
And if you look at our last 2 losses, the next game we came out, put up 66 on Missouri, and then came out and put up 55-0 against Vandy last year. So hopefully this will be a similar thing. Come here, put up 70 on these guys.
Yeah, hoping so. So we actually do have one more poll that I do want to try to get to. So I'm gonna let y'all keep on going, and I'm gonna try to get this thing up.
Okay. Yeah. I'm interested to see if we'll get Dylan Sampson some burn this week.
Mm-hmm. See
if we can kind of get him in rotation. I think that's the key thing, man. Like, spread the love. You know what I mean? Get more guys involved. Let's see some of these kind of younger guys like Nimrod, Caleb Webb. I wouldn't mind seeing Cam Selden. Like, hopefully we can finally have that type of game where those younger guys can get in. You know what I mean? We can really see the future. Because I think some talent, and these guys can probably help us this season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. We had talked about that earlier too, man. Just about, being able to see especially Sampson, man. He's one of those guys that, he has 4 touchdowns and he's already on IG talking about he's a cage cheetah and stuff. So, we just gotta get him in, so hopefully we can do that. All right, I'm gonna try to get this next one in, y'all, real quick. Just bear with me for just a second. Bray, do you have any closing thoughts before we put up the final poll?
Not really. I mean, I just hope that Tennessee can come out and just pretty much just bounce back in a big way. That's really what I just want to see, how they're gonna bounce back, how they're gonna face adversity, and hopefully they can get together before they have to go on that stretch when they have to play South Carolina, A&M, who else? Bama and Kentucky. I think so. Hopefully they can get together for that stretch.
Yeah, man. We've got a really tough stretch coming up, so we have to get back right on this game, and I believe that we will. So let me just bear with me. I almost got this thing. It's still gonna get it figured out, but yeah, we're gonna get it.
So what do you think? So I've been hearing some rumblings about freaking blacking out for South Carolina. I don't know. I'm just not with the gimmicks, especially for like a big game.
I'm not with them either.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Do that this week. You know what I mean? Do it against a scrub team. Don't give an opponent that is worth something. Don't give them that freaking satisfaction of
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just not big into that. Shoot, I was getting into it on Twitter yesterday, talking about storming the field. I was like, hey, when we beat Georgia, we're not going to storm the freaking field. And this guy was going back and forth with me like, why? Why wouldn't we? I'm like, dude, you just don't have a clue, man. You know what I mean? You don't storm the field against those guys.
Nah, man. Yeah.
Colorado
they ain't earned that right.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, man. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, shoot, man, we gotta take it one week at a time. But yeah, I'm hoping that we don't. Once we do beat Georgia, because I feel like we match up very well against Georgia, and as quiet as it's kept, I think that Florida does too. But I feel like Florida's gonna lose 3 or 4 other games. So I think we still got a chance to be able to go out here and win this East. So yeah, go ahead.
Georgia needs to open up the play calling a lot more. Freaking Mike Bobo over.
Yeah.
Screen pass, halfback dive.
He's doing what he's always done, Bray. That's just who Bobo is. All right, so P? Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying we love Mike Bobo.
Yep. Yeah, man. We absolutely love playing against him. All right, so this is the final poll of the night. It says, who's to blame for the Vols defensive woes. And with this one, you have to type out the actual name to let us know. Tim Banks. You know what, P? Who do you have for this? Who do you think? Who would you want?
I mean, I guess the easy answer is Tim Banks because I mean he is the guy, so he controls the whole thing. But if I had to, pick from what we see on the field, it's got to be the daggone linebackers. I mean, they have not played up to the billing at all. And I think we had Keenan Peely back. I think pretty much all our defensive problems go away. That's just me. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I mean, our linebackers have played really, really, really bad, and I mean, all of them. Like, I think that Aaron Beasley has played okay in some spurts, but for the most part, they've all played pretty bad. But good news is, I definitely think that this week was an eye opener for everybody, and last week was, and this week, like we keep on saying, we are gonna bounce back. We're gonna get our fundamentals back right, and I think that this is gonna carry over into the rest of this season. And we're just gonna get back to playing the basic fundamental stuff, doing that little stuff right. And this team, I think that the sky is still the limit, man. We still have a whole lot of talent.
I was gonna say this too. I feel like the past 2 years we've seen Josh Heupel coach teams get better as the year goes on. And so I think it is exciting to see the young guys, Elijah Herrings. They look rough now, but by the end of the year, you expect him to be a guy that's actually living up to his potential and playing ball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We most definitely hope so. All right, so I'm going to read off just a couple more of these. Okay, that's just y'all voting. So Darren Weaver says Beasley is a beast on the Blitz for show. And we've got, thank you so much, VFL Willie, for the $2 super chat. He says, do we see any younger offensive linemen this week? I mean, I think that we could potentially, but I don't know. Like, do you really want to throw some guys out that you're not sure about, and something happens? Yeah, go ahead.
Who would be who do you think would be the first young guy that would get out there? Who would it be? Trying to think.
The first young guy, I would say probably Shamarad Umarov would probably be the first one. I think that they've got a lot of faith in Bison Lang too. So we'll probably see that. And then also, obviously with what's going on with Cooper, Bison Lang.
Yeah.
You might want to get him out there and just see if you can hold up in some live reps.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case. Yeah. I mean, who would you pick as far as the offensive line?
Yeah. I was gonna go those two, Bison Lang and Umarov. But I mean, heck, do we consider Addison Nichols a young guy?
I mean, I guess kinda.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like they're kind of passing over. Huh?
Yeah. I was talking more about like the true freshman, but I mean, I really like Addison Nichols. I want to see him for sure. And I don't understand why he hasn't been playing, but to me, he seems like and has looked like he's better than what we've been putting out there so far, at least from what they showed last week.
Yeah, I think with him because they had him at center, and I just remember one of the interviews. I can't remember who it was, but they said something about the snap being inconsistent or something. So I think that was his issue, and I think now they've moved him out of center, and he's only working guard, so maybe he'll be able to work his way in towards the end of the year, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. We just got to go out here and take care of business. Appreciate y'all as always for tuning in, man. We've got to get Bray to sleep because he's got to go to school tomorrow. But always a pleasure talking ball with y'all, and we'll be back on again, man. I think we might try to go live maybe Saturday morning. Maybe like a pregame, something like that, or maybe a post game. We'll get it all figured out, and we'll let y'all know in time. But please make sure to like, subscribe, and let your friends, let your family know about this channel. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.
Balls, baby.